my gorgeous higher self listeners. I have another incredible success story, incredible client with me here today, the beautiful Daisy. I've already given her a glowing review of what we've spoke about in the intro, but we're here and welcome, Daisy. Who are you? What do you do? And we'll start from there.
Hello, I'm Daisy.
Good.
Yeah, that's a good start, isn't
Good
it?
start.
I work with skin clinics and cosmetic clinics, estheticians. They have a lot of different names from all around the world. And I build them websites is my main focus of my work. Yeah.
And she's amazing at it, by the way. Absolutely incredible. So let's kind of dive back to where it all began. I remember the first message you sent me. I was actually getting my nails done when you sent me the message. And you had come out of nowhere, but you'd equally been listening to podcasts and kind of been in my world for quite a long time, hadn't you?
Oh God, yeah. It felt a little bit like reaching out to a celebrity because I've been listening to your podcast for so long. So I worked with a business coach when I first started, and she recommended your podcast.
Love that.
Right from when, because I started as a VA, and I was like, okay, so you've been from VA to web developer.
Look at that.
And I was just like, I think I was so at kind of like whim of my emotions all the time. It was really up and down. I was overwhelmed with everything, and I didn't really see how I could grow with the amount of work that I had. And also, so I was just like, right, this is it. I'm gonna invest.
Yeah. Time to go. Yeah. So let the listeners know a little bit about what that looked like for you in the way of what you were going through previous to us working together, but kind of as we started. It was more of that. I just remember having that conversation with you where you were like, I have no clue how I get to that next level doing the things that I'm doing now, or doing it the way that I'm doing now.
Yeah, absolutely. Because at that time, I have someone that works with me a day a week now. But at that time I didn't. So I was doing everything myself, and it's a service-based role.
Business,
So I'm literally doing the work. I just couldn't see how I could possibly take on more clients to make more money, to be more financially stable and therefore more mentally stable. That's
where you were. And from the kind of the mindset perspective and where you were sitting with that, what were some of the biggest, if you don't mind sharing, kind of some of the biggest beliefs that were coming up, or some of the biggest kind of up and downs that you were experiencing?
I was really like, I'd have like sometimes like 2 to 3 weeks dip sort of thing where I feel like dread was a really big thing for me. And I still have it, but now I can kind of deal with it a bit better.
Navigate it,
Yeah, absolutely. So that was like one of the biggest things that we spoke about right at the beginning was, how do I stop being almost just like my moods are controlling me rather than me controlling my mood, sort of thing. So I'd have like 2 to 3 weeks of feeling really awful, not like wanting to. It's always been client work has always been fine. Like I've always enjoyed the actual client work. It's just like not wanting to actually sit down at my desk in the morning and then being like, okay, I need to be on social media. It's always social media. I need to be selling. I need to be doing my marketing. That was where the dread was, because there was like a massive belief that nobody's going to buy from me. If I'd gone like 2 weeks with no inquiries, I'd be like, nobody's going to buy from me.
Yeah.
And then that would just make me not want to sell, and not want to show up. And we spoke about a massive thing for me when I'm in that marketing headspace is my social media feels sparkly.
Yes, that was such a good session, wasn't it? I loved the sparkly session.
Like when we were like, what does sparkly feel like? What does it look like in your body? And then what's the opposite of that? That was really powerful. So basically I'd have like 2-3 weeks where I felt the opposite of sparkly, and then maybe like I'd stay even less time on than off, sort of thing.
And it was starting to
Yeah.
kind of navigate what that looked like and be able to, we are going to have those ups and downs. And I think everyone kind of
Mm,
asks me that, how do we navigate life and how do we navigate our moods
mm,
and how do we navigate our being a woman and having a cycle, like all
yeah,
of these
yeah.
things and how much it was I mean, I see it impact so many people, but how much it was impacting how you showed up and how you sold. It was having such a stop. It was almost this stop and start, wasn't it? Before we worked
Mm,
together, of like we stop for 3 weeks in the fact of like
yeah.
selling, and then you go back on, and then you
Mm,
have that week, and then it's off again. And it was almost that lack. No, I don't think it was a lack of consistency. It was just like you couldn't be consistent with how you
yeah.
felt, could you?
Yeah, I just felt like I was starting again from
Every
like page
time.
one every time I'd
Yeah.
come out of one of those dips. And it was a lot of self sabotage as well, because
Yes.
like I'd just be starting to get somewhere. And yes, I've like been on social media selling. I'm starting to get a bit of like a stream of inquiries coming in. And then suddenly it was like, my brain was like, oh, hold on. I
Can't
don't
do
think we
this.
can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think this is too much actually. I'm overwhelmed. So I'm going to dip and
Yeah.
go into like a depression.
Yeah, and the dip was the safety, wasn't it? Really, for
Yeah, it
you at that
was.
point of like, I need to get myself into the safety, so let's pull back. Things are working. Oh my god, I can't handle it, and down,
Yeah.
down, down the spiral went. And I think that was
Yeah, yeah.
from the mindset. We did a lot of mindset work to start off with, but then we started to really implement the kind of you holding yourself in the container of your diary and when you would do social media and what that would look like,
Mm,
and this
yeah,
sparkliness, which started to bring in
yeah.
a bit of the consistency. And I remember us having that conversation around the sparkle and what the sparkle was and how we could
Mm,
almost turn that on, but equally not need to be in it all the
mhm.
time. Because I think a lot of
Yes.
people are like, oh, we have to be in that energy all the time, and this is how it is. But we found a way where you could literally switch that on and off, didn't we?
Absolutely. And it was so much, I think, about structure for me as
Yes.
well. Like that was a massive, massive, like that was a turning point for me when we were
Yeah.
like, okay, what do your weeks look like? What do your days look like? What are you doing every hour, sort of thing? And I didn't realize how much I needed structure. So it was literally like, okay, I create well, it wasn't even I make content, it was something like, see, it's kind of shifted a little bit now, but when it first
Yes.
started it was much more regimented. But like, it was okay, you're going to plan the ideas for your content on this day, then the next day you're going to create the content, and then
Yeah.
maybe another day of the week you're going to schedule the
Yeah.
content, sort of thing, and then you're
Yeah.
ready for the, you've done it the week before, sort of thing, rather than I was doing it all on a Monday. I'd be like, right, Monday is my CEO day, which basically just meant I'm going to sit and stress about
Sit
social media, kick it
for
all
10
out in
hours.
one day. Yeah, and if I don't do it, then I'm absolutely fucked for the rest of the
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
So there was no wonder that I was feeling so much dread coming to work on a Monday, because like, one, it's changed now actually. But at the time, I really didn't like social media and I didn't like the marketing aspect. And that was like
Mm.
my introduction to the whole working week, was just a full
The
day
thing
of
that you
it.
hated the most.
Yeah, exactly. And it was so obvious. It's like there were so many things that we spoke about, and that included, where it's like so obvious and you touch on it and it's like, oh yeah, why have I been doing that to myself? Yeah, that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. And I think it was
Yeah.
like that moment of you understanding what that looks like. And I love that you've seen kind of the trajectory of that. You say it's kind of not like that anymore and you don't need that
Mm,
full structure in. But because you had absolutely no structure at all, we kind of had to go ham on
yes,
on
yes,
building the
absolutely.
structure. You
Yeah.
got yourself into a rhythm. And I think that's
Mm,
the moment where you kind of started to enjoy and actually really reap the benefits of being consistent
yeah.
on socials, didn't you?
Absolutely, yeah. It was like I could make much more powerful content that I resonated with more, and that resonated with my audience more, and particularly like the what's the word that you say, that sort of like higher audience,
High
like the
caliber. Yes. I
higher
was about to
caliber,
go
that's
into
it.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I felt like I could definitely get into that mindset so much easier. And then once you make a habit, at first you have to be, like we say, really
The
regimented
structure.
and
Yeah.
strict with it.
Yeah.
But then it's like it gets ingrained in you, and now it's kind of almost like second nature, creating that content, like that more powerful content that
Yeah.
speaks to the higher caliber of client.
Yeah. And you can really feel your energy and actually your love for what you talk about now, you know, and I still,
Mm.
we finished a while back, but I still watch all of my clients as if you were still
Yeah.
my clients, and I still
Yeah, you're
cheerlead
like
you
the
all the
first
way.
one that views my stories.
I'm like, yeah, you go for that. But I think it's like always that it's so nice to see where you were and how you were like, I don't want to be here and I don't want to show up in
Mm.
this way. And now it's a lot less pressure and a lot more
Yeah.
results for you as well, isn't it? 'Cause the business did really grow. And I think in
Yeah.
that section, and I know it's grown since we've finished as well, but just going back to kind of shifting a little bit, we had
Mm.
that time where you really shifted and you were like, right, I'm ready to put up my prices. I'm ready
Yeah.
to speak to a bit of a higher caliber of client. I'm ready to kind of add a couple of things in. Just talk into that and what allowed you to almost be like, I'm ready now. Because I remember that conversation around your pricing.
Yeah, it was literally in our first month of working together. I said I kind of want to be making around 5K to feel comfortable. Like I
Mhm.
really wanted the thing is I didn't want to be one of these people that's focused on numbers. So
Yes.
like I found that really actually spiraled my mental
Yeah.
health when I focused on numbers. But to be comfortable and to be able to hire someone to work a day a week, I needed to be making that sort of thing. And
Logistically, yeah.
within the first month, I made it with you, and
Yeah.
I
You
was
were
just
like,
like, that is
heck?
wild. Yeah.
Like,
Oh, this
what's
works.
happened?
Yeah. And it was literally just that shifting, having that structure. We really got to know what that kind of higher caliber of client looked like. People that were more established with their skin clinics. They're kind of like their internal and external. We did a lot of that, like what they want for their business, but then how that's going to affect them personally.
Yeah.
And communicating with that and getting really clear on that so that it felt easy to just talk about that. And then there was also the structure of, okay, so you make your posts, your grid posts across the week, and then you just kind of talk about those grid posts in your stories if you
Simple.
have nothing else to talk about. So
Yeah.
like you're never guessing or wondering what you're going to say. It's always just like, well, it's all here because I've done the work
The
already. And
connection
then
of it. Yeah.
you can just focus on bringing that sparkle and just getting into that mindset
Yeah.
where you're really present and passionate on your stories, which is where all the selling happens.
Yeah, exactly, and where people get to know you and trust you and
Mm,
inevitably move into it. So, and I
yeah.
think that was the thing. I remember us having that conversation, and I really wanted to talk about this today because I think in an industry, especially in this industry, and you know, just the kind of female entrepreneur talking stories, let's say stories,
Yeah.
we have this thing where we're like, and then we've got to hit the next, and then we've got to hit the next, and then we've got to hit the next. And actually, we had a
Mm,
conversation where you were like, Beck, I feel incredible. Like the business is now consistently hitting that amount of
hmm
money. I
hmm
kind of don't want to up level to the next level.
Yeah.
Like I want to sit in this. I really want to enjoy it. I really
Yeah.
want to have this as like my absolute minimum as what it is. And I think like
hmm
you having that realization that it doesn't have to be the next, the big, the big, the
Yes.
big, it
Yeah.
allowed you to, and I really saw this during our time together, it allowed you to like really solidify the work
Mm,
that we'd done from like
hmm
an intentionality point of view, but like also habitually in your life. Can you remember kind of making that decision where you're like, no, I don't need to go and off and
Yeah.
off and off?
Yeah, absolutely. Because there was there's always more that you could be doing.
Yeah.
But it was just like, right, if I'm hitting my comfortable limit sort of
Yeah.
thing with the tools that we've put into place, there's always the sort of like temptation to keep
Yes.
going because you know you can.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it was like we spoke about what is it that you value, and it was like, right, well, ultimately I'd like to get my partner to part-time with his job, but that's a long-term plan.
Yeah.
But at the minute I just want to be able to do my job in the working hours and then switch off and
Yes. And
not
that was
like
such a big
constantly
part
be
of what you
thinking about
wanted.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
I love
now
that.
that is it. And like, even like, I know it's kind of like taboo. You're meant to post your stories every day and stuff, but I do not do it at a weekend. And I'm just like, my followers don't expect that from me
Yeah.
because I don't do it
And
and I
that's
never have and I never will, sort of thing. And it's just about like, it was about drawing those boundaries. What do I want this business to look like for me to actually be happy rather than what people expect you to do with a business, sort of thing.
yes. And I think that gave you
Yeah.
so much permission, didn't it? When you stepped into that, you were
Mm,
like, actually, I don't need to be putting this pressure on myself, and it doesn't need to look like that. And I can still make a lot of money and have a team
yeah.
member and be comfortable and
Yeah.
have my, like, I know we spoke a lot when we were bringing those boundaries in, especially around your timetable of like, I don't want to be working on the weekends and I don't want to be working on the evenings, and
Mm,
how you really stepped into that. It was almost
yeah.
this like CEO you version came out and you're like, absolutely not.
Yeah. Oh, I suddenly started drawing boundaries with
Yeah.
clients and stuff like that. It's like, do you know what? I'm actually setting my own deadlines here. So why am I saying, oh, this
That you'll get
website's
it
going to
done.
be launched by tomorrow, sort of
Yeah.
thing? And
Yeah.
it's
You're like,
just,
doing this to myself.
oh, iTunes has just decided to open up, which
Oh,
it never ever does. But of course it
what's it
would
going
do
to
it right
play for
now.
us today?
Yeah. Bit of Stray Kids. There we go. Perfect. Okay.
So good. But yeah, I think kind of like you then stepping into that, and actually we solidified that for quite, for in the container that we were in, and you worked with me for 3 months, we really kind of solidified the work that you'd done from a mindset perspective. And I remember you were like, I'm not even having the thoughts. Like, I haven't had these like roller coaster up and downs. And when I do,
Yeah.
I can get out of it really quickly. What did you
Yeah.
find was the biggest shift in your mindset when we worked together?
There was a lot. It was that dread was a big thing
Yes.
that we kept on revisiting mindset wise, and that belief of I'm not going to make any money. And I
Hmm.
remember one session in particular, and we sat down, we did timeline therapy, and like I went back and sort of like met the younger, like the me in primary school sort of
Yeah.
thing, and was kind of like, I can't remember why I needed to do this. Like, I can't remember the situation. Maybe you will, but like, I like met her, gave her a hug, and I was like, "You're good enough. Like, you're doing great," sort of thing. You don't need to be doing more all the time.
Yes. Yes.
Um, and the piece that came from that was like astonishing, and the kind of the deep diving it. So like when I came to you, I was like, right, I've got this baseline emotion. I feel like I'm dreading going to work. And it was like, okay, where do you feel that in your body? Okay, what is it trying to tell you? And did that feeling, when did you first feel that feeling? Where did it
Hmm.
come from? And that's how we went back.
Yep.
And then you were like, okay, so when you start to feel that feeling, maybe it's that little girl you
Just
sort of
needed
knocking on
to
the
be
door
heard.
being like,
Yeah.
hi, I need to chat, sort of
Yeah.
thing. So chat
Yeah.
with her. um and that was massive. Like, I haven't needed to actually sit down with the little girl me. It's not been that extreme, but that kind of sitting and being like, what is this feeling actually trying to tell me? What are the actual underlying beliefs beneath this dread? And it's different
Mm,
all the time.
mm,
And then being like, well, that's irrational because I actually can do that, or I actually
mhm.
do have time, or whatever it is. That was that's been the key to me sort of navigating those like dips, because they
Yeah,
still happen, but they're
of
not as
course.
extreme, and it doesn't
Yeah.
like completely switch me off work, sort of
Yeah.
thing.
And I think that's like the biggest thing for me is to give you those tools. And I think from us
Mm,
having that conversation and you seeing it so clearly through timeline and going back there and being able to speak to her, but then having the knowledge of like, oh, I can just ask a couple of questions
yeah,
and deliberate with her and tell her what she
yeah,
needs to hear right now and allow
yeah.
myself to shift through it. You did find that and this happens all the time, they do show up less because you're actually listening to them. You're actually
It's being
listening.
soft, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rather than that kind of masculine, rah, I'm gonna just keep going and
Need to
going and
do
hustling and
more. Yeah.
hustling.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, okay, why am I feeling like this? And sitting just for like, it took me like an hour out of my morning. And
Yeah.
then this was Monday. And then this week has just been so much better.
Yeah.
just from sitting and asking them questions.
And
Whereas
having
I
that.
would, for 2 weeks before that, I've just been kind of like, keep going, keep going. So
Yeah.
it's still hard to like integrate those habits and those like tools that we learn. Like you're always learning and always catching yourself
Yes, of
slipping
course.
back into what you were like, sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. But having the tools to move yourself through it. And I know you say, like, I hear
Mm.
you in my head. And like all my clients are like, I've got you on my shoulder. Like, I hear what you'd be asking
Absolutely.
me.
Like, what would Beck ask me right
Yeah.
now? What would
Yeah.
we do? Yeah,
I'm like, good.
absolutely.
I've done my
It's
job.
so
Um,
handy. It's so handy.
I'm glad.
Or eerie,
And
is that?
in the way of your business, how did your business start to change once you'd moved through that? Because I know you've gone from strength to strength to strength with business and who you're working with and what that looks like.
Just so I'm not croaking on the
All right,
podcast.
no worries.
um, yeah, it's definitely easier for me to attract people quicker,
Yeah,
I think. I've had people just kind of like follow me, message me, book a call, and
in.
then
Yeah,
go ahead with it, sort of thing. Uh, and the type of people that I'm talking to are the kind of people that are ready to just take action and invest,
you wanted
rather
that
than
as well,
maybe,
didn't you? Yeah.
yeah, exactly, being less at the very start of their career and there's a lot to think about at that time. So it's
Mm,
more like they know what their next step is. Um, and I think it's, yeah, so obviously I'm getting more of those sort of higher caliber of clients, but I also am more confident in what I'm selling and what I'm doing.
I love that.
And I can see the transformation that I'm giving people, and the growth that I can give them. Because, like, when skin clinics or skin specialists literally fully booked in clinic and they have no time to grow by taking on new clients, how else can they grow other than going virtual, sort of thing?
True. Yeah.
So that's like a massive thing that I can literally contribute to other people's lives and other people's businesses. And I'm really confident that I can make that difference for people. So
Oh, I love
it's
that.
more of that sort of like, rather than me selling a website, it's more that I can sell that transformation and I believe in that transformation and I want to help, sort of thing. So it comes from less of a, I want to make this amount of money per month.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do it by selling websites,
Yeah.
to I'm actually really enjoying who I work with and what I do for them, sort of thing.
I
So
love that.
that's been invaluable. And then also like being able to work with someone, my best friend does a day a week. She does design work for me now. And that has been incredible because she basically does like 90% of the design work now. So I can focus on the builds, and the SEO and the copy, and then also just the marketing side of the business as well. And that has just
That's
been
incredible.
ace. Yeah.
Incredible. I remember having that conversation. You were like, I really want this to happen. I like it again. It was like so quick, wasn't it? It's such a quick
It
turnaround. You were
was.
like,
It
and
was.
it's happened.
Yeah, yeah. It was like after the first month, we were like, okay, where do we go from here?
Like
There obviously was a lot, but
we need to revisit our
yeah,
goals. Like,
yeah. But after that, though, because we did grow, well, it grew so quick that there was the kind of that pullback mentally,
yes,
wasn't there? Can you remember? Where it
yes,
was
for
like,
sure.
yeah, I was like, oh, I don't know. Actually, I might be overwhelmed. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I
Yes,
can. And it was
yes.
very much, it shifted from action to mindset after
For
that,
sure,
didn't it?
very quickly. And I
Yeah.
think that's what I love about having the long-term containers. Like even in 3 months, you grew so much in that first month because we'd done
Mm,
the very deep mindset work that you needed to do at that time. And then the
yeah.
aligned action came from that. You did very step into that very quickly, and to be able to be there to support you through that edge,
Yeah.
that up level,
Maintain it.
and
Yeah.
maintain it. I think that was the
Mm,
biggest thing. And I was so glad because it was almost you came to me being like, I do want to grow and I don't know how that looks like, but we grew so quickly. But actually for us, it was more about how do you sustain that and
yes,
maintain it
it
and it
was.
become sustainable for you rather than the actual
Yeah.
growth itself, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, it really was. I think that was the biggest thing that I took from us working together, was that sustainability and like, stability. element
Yes.
of it. That was
Yeah.
like the biggest life-changing thing. And like, for example, the sales side of things were so like dangerously slow. December, January, and then again February. It was like 3 months, just like nobody was buying. For it being that time of year, but I'm also going to start putting things into place to make sure that doesn't happen next year, but whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
But basically, if that had been before, I would have been like, this is it.
Yeah.
How am I
Done.
going to show up? Like,
Yeah.
I did, like, I would have just been so low. And I was, by the end of the third month, I was panicking a little bit about finances, but at no point I feel like that slipped into my marketing side of things. I
Mm.
actually think I did better marketing in those 3 months than I did when it started picking up again, because like, I don't know, there was no desperation. It wasn't desperate. It was just like, oh no, I'm not taking this.
Yeah.
Like,
That's the end of it.
this
Yeah.
isn't going to be the end of this,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah. And it
like,
really shifted, allowed you to
yeah,
shift into that, didn't it? Rather than it, again, like you said right at the beginning, the mood affecting you and the mood affecting your
yeah,
business. It didn't have to get to that place because you got those things in
yeah,
play to really
yeah.
work with.
That was like, okay, I'm a different person to who I was last year, sort of thing.
And I
Yeah. And
remember
that's
that
another, sorry.
conversation. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you're probably going to say what I was saying, but that's another conversation. You were like, I am a whole new
Yeah,
me.
literally, that's literally what I was gonna say. Like, I literally, like, I felt like I was better socially. Like, when we first started working together, like, I've been in therapy and stuff before, so like, I'm quite aware of my emotions and stuff. But I've been very careful with myself and quite insular and a bit of a
Mhm.
hermit sort of thing. I was suddenly like, I want to go out and see my friends. And like, do you know what? Maybe seeing friends 2 times a week is too little.
What? I was like, "What? Who
It's
is this?"
literally like, who am I? And it was literally because I was able to stabilize my mood so much outside of work as well. It's literally magical. It's you have literally changed my life. It's
I do remember
amazing.
that, what you sent me a picture and you're like, got friends round and you were playing
Yeah.
games and I was like, I who is this gal?
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. And that is just continues. Like, I, yeah, obviously you have sad days. I like had and it, again, going back to you saying as a woman and having a cycle,
Yeah.
um, I find I'm actually at my most sparkly the week before my period and my
Mhm.
period, which is really weird because
Yeah.
obviously everything else goes to shit at that
Yeah.
time, but my business thrives. So,
Love
because I
it.
feel like, yeah, you could just be like, do you know what? I don't give a shit. I'm just going
Yeah.
to show up and
Here I
whatever.
am.
All the boundaries are down. Um, so yeah, it's been like, I can't remember where I was going with that, but yeah,
No,
cycle,
it really
great.
did, and I think just that's the thing that I love with the subconscious work is that, yes, you come in to this container to work on your business, to grow your business, to get sustainability with your business, but actually through the work that we did, and this happens with so many of my clients, you're like, now I'm doing things differently in my relationship or in
Yeah.
my health or with my
Hmm.
friends, and it was having such a domino effect on you that it was just,
Yeah.
oh, it was the best thing to like see, to like actually watch you
Really.
really step into that. It was
It
really
was a great thing to
powerful.
feel.
Yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks for that.
If you
Yeah.
had to sum up, I'm going to give you one word. I mean, you can have more, but if you had to sum up our time working together in one word, what would it be?
Transformative. Like, there's no other word it could be. Like, it was just so fast, a transformation business wise. And then by the end of the 3 months, like we've just spoken about, personally and like personal life wise, and just like happiness levels. Like, I literally
Mm,
feel like my baseline happiness level has gone up by 5 points, sort of thing. Like,
love that.
on a scale of 1 to 10. It's just, yeah, transformative with like how I structure, transformative with how I show up in my day-to-day life, and therefore in my business, and transformative with the people that I attract, how I work with people. And then also we also worked together to put in like a future plan, which,
Plan.
yes, so like a way to definitely make sure that I've got that stability and like maybe a bit more of a constant stream of clients rather than starting
Mm-hmm.
from zero at the beginning of every month.
Mm-hmm.
So that is like, I'm actually a bit of a slow burner on everything else in life. I know we went really fast, didn't we, in
She was
that
like,
first
in
month?
my world, it was a month, but
Yeah. But normally everything else takes me a long time. So I still have that plan in place for that growth. And it's so like that stability of knowing what my future looks like
yes.
as well.
And as and when you're ready
Yeah.
to step into it, which I think was a really powerful kind of end to the container that we had together, and kind of putting that in
Mm,
place and having that in play for you to
yeah.
literally pick up and plug in as and when
Yeah.
you're ready for that next level, and wanting
Yeah.
to shift into that as well, which was great.
Mm, yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I love it so much. I
Me
absolutely love working with you.
too.
And I think it's because, again, which, that's the kind of client I attract, with that self-awareness, and you knew exactly kind of where you were stopping yourself and what was going on and how your moods were having that
Mm,
such big impact. And you were so ready, weren't you, at the time that we had then started working together, that you were like, well, it's now, like, this is now the time
yeah.
that I work through this. This is now the time that I commit to this. And I think that's what had, you did the shifting in that 1 month. I obviously showed you the yellow brick road, but it was you that was showing up for yourself, and you that was doing the work and shifting and
Yeah.
putting those habits and boundaries in. And I'm just so proud of you. It's so good to see, and to see that sparkly you.
Yes. Well, I'm very thankful. It literally happened without you. So.
So let's kind of chat a little bit about what you do, because I know it's very niched. I
Mm,
love how niched it is,
yeah.
and very, very kind of a very different world to, I don't know, like the business coach space, or like anything like
Yeah.
that. But just let everyone know about what you do and how you help your clients.
Yeah, so obviously I make websites specifically for skin clinics, cosmetic clinics, estheticians. I've done a little dabbling in nail salons as well, which has been fun. So it started out very niche, but I am open to opening it up as well. But I do like to be niche because I can communicate so
Very
clearly with
clearly. Yeah.
skin clinics particularly. So yeah, we build websites. I think my signature package is our Bloom package, which is like a custom build website, where we design, build, SEO. I do all of the copy, so all of the writing throughout the website, and there's like ongoing support as well. Yeah, I think like I say, I want to come more from a place of transformation of what I can do for the clinics rather than it just being a website. So there's
Yeah.
like members areas that we
I
build
was
where
just
it's
about
like,
to say that, like, you really stepped into that, didn't you, with how you can help
yeah,
the client stop being time restricted, and
yeah,
being able to still grow their business, which is an amazing strategy for them, isn't
yeah,
it?
use their websites as a tool for growth
Yes.
sort of thing. So the members area it can be anything. So we've had skin clinics use it as like a skin online skincare plan. So you can recommend products and link it to your shop online and stuff like that. And it just like transforms their clients' experiences, or
Mm,
it continues the experience that they have in clinic outside of clinic. So it's really good at keeping up that client relationship. But another thing is, I feel like quite often in the website space, it's very male dominated, or it has been very male dominated. And you often find that I really don't want to use the word crispy, but I also really do. Like it's like crispy old white men are building websites that are so basic, so ugly,
yeah.
so old fashioned. They're charging an arm and leg for it. And lo and behold, the biggest thing that they're charging for is the invisible cost
Stuff.
of SEO.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't doubt that they're doing it, but like, it's the thing that the client can't see, sort of thing. And in the meantime, the client's left with a kind of Bobby Basic website. So, we really wanted to like make websites that look good, but also have all of that kind of powerful back
Back
end stuff.
end.
So,
Yeah.
the SEO is a massive thing. Um, and also having that personality and personability. comfortableness
Yeah.
of working with someone that specializes in that niche. So I work with a lot of people that call themselves technophobes. So they
Mm,
don't know how to use technology. They're like scared by the idea of a website. But rather than them feeling stupid when they come to me with a question or not knowing what anything means,
yeah.
like they have that flow of conversation with me. There's never any belittling, there's never any patronization. Everything is explained. And they have free reign and are taught how to edit their own website at the end of
Amazing.
it, sort of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
it's
I love
it's
that.
much more organic and much more like it feels more organic anyway to me than just I build websites sort of
And
thing.
yeah, yeah, I know. And I think
Yeah.
like you seeing, because you've had that, haven't you, where you've seen the impact on like putting those members areas in or really helping them to scale past just having this, I mean, very aesthetic, beautiful websites, I must say. If
Yeah.
you go
Yeah.
and look at Daisy's profile, you'll see how beautiful they are. But like it goes way further than that, and it really helps them. You get to play into their bigger picture, which
Yeah.
feeds your values and feeds how you want to
Yeah.
grow the business as well, rather than being the crispy white old white man.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think my
Like if
favorite.
we had yeah. Yeah. I don't want to offend anyone, but
No.
maybe I don't mind offending crispy old white men.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll leave
charge,
them.
we'll
I
charge
don't think any
later
crispy old white men will be listening to said podcast
Yeah,
anyway. So
that's true. We
I
might be
think we'll be
safe.
okay.
This is a safe space,
It is
okay?
a safe space. Yes, absolutely. So, where can people find you? Obviously, everything will be in the show notes, but just let them know where you live and where that is.
Yeah, so we have a website. It's virtualpeachwood.co.uk. They can see all of our packages, all of our prices are on there. You can book a call, you can inquire, all the rest of it on there. And we also have all of our portfolio and stuff on there. And then obviously Instagram. Instagram is my biggie. That's where I spend
She
a
sparkles.
lot of time sparkling away. Don't be blinded by my stories. Um, so yeah, if you like want to hear me nattering on in my stories, that's the place to go. I'm trying to dabble in TikTok, but I
Nice.
there's no scheduling tool for TikTok, and by the time it gets around to the evening, I've forgotten to
You're like,
post
God
the
dang.
draft. Yeah, so that's a work in progress. I'm also on Pinterest as well.
Beautiful. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for today. I knew it would be an amazing conversation because our
Yeah,
calls
it's
were
been
always a
lovely.
hoot. But
Yeah,
I'm so proud of you, and just kind of hearing your reflections back on what you can now do and how you feel is just so amazing. So I'm hoping that it resonates. I'm sure it definitely will with others and how that shift happened for you. But thank you for
yeah.
coming on. I love you lots.
Thank you so much for having me. I love you too.
My pleasure. I will
It's been
see everyone
great.
on the next episode. Love you all.